In 2021 here at Electrifying, we gave not one, but two of our highly coveted awards to the Fiat 500. The best small car of the year and the best overall car of the year. Now why, I hear you ask? Well, because it's a really decent car. Of course, you get the retro chic styling, then a fair amount of tech thrown in. There are lots of different options available and it is comparatively well priced. However, that was for the car with the larger battery and a range of just under 200 miles. It comes in at £24,000 after the £2,500 government grant. But that is pretty good value, right? Well, wait till you hear about this. This is the new Fiat 500 Action, and it comes in at £20,495 after the government grant. Okay, it has a smaller battery, less range, less tech, but you do save a chunk of cash. So the real question that we are asking today is the new Fiat 500 as good at the bottom of the range as it is at the top? So time to ask yourself, what is more important to you, touchscreen and toys or cash in your wallet? Do let us know in the comments below. I'm still undecided what the answer to that question really is. Also, do remember to subscribe because, well, let's be honest, it helps our ad revenue, doesn't it?
Okay.
Honesty is the best policy. Okay, so what does £20,000 get you when it comes to the Fiat 500? Well, the good news is you still get this kind of cartoon cute styling about it, which I think we've got to say everyone loves, right? Let us know in the comments below because I'm undecided. Is this the look of an angry puppy, or maybe an automotive Pokemon, or even Danger Mouse? I'm not sure. Do let me know in the comments below because I really need to make a decision on this.
It's still a small four-seater, perfect for nipping around town. It still requires backseat passengers to gradually lose all feeling in their legs, and it still has a weeny 185-litre boot. That's about the size of my large rucksack, though I would have to pack my weekly shopping very carefully to get it all in there. And wise to note that you don't get the 50-50 split rear seats that you get in other models. Now, there are petite 15-inch wheels, and I hope you like this ice white colour because that's the only standard shade. All other colours are options. And no, you can't get the convertible roof in this small battery spec either.
But you know, even though there's less chrome, there's less colour choice, it still has the same styling that we all fell in love with the Fiat 500. And I think with this car, it's maybe less about what you get and more about what you don't get, which then makes for an interesting discussion because you really have to prioritise what you do want in a car.
Probably most importantly, it comes with a smaller 24 kilowatt-hour battery with a potential 115-mile range, according to the WLTP cycle. Haha, and you thought the Mini Electric and Honda E were a bit marginal with 145 and 137. Now I know what you're thinking, or you should be anyway, 115 miles will easily become double digits in winter, and suddenly you're going to feel like you need to charge every time you stop. But more on that in a minute.
Now, the first thing that you notice when you actually get inside the car is, well, there's kind of less to notice. There isn't a huge amount going on, but again, that's fine. I don't mind it being pared back because it's still functional. You have a 7-inch screen in front of you with all the usual information. What you don't get is a touchscreen in the center console here, and instead you get a phone holder, which is actually fine. It means obviously you can put your mobile phone there. I can still use that for my maps and my music, which to be honest is enough to get me around. So I'm quite happy with that. The other thing that I do actually really like the design of are these seats. They're called sequel seats, and they are made from 100% recyclable materials, including 10% from plastic found in the sea. So there you go. They've tried to use a bit of sustainability in the materials on the car as well. So it's not just zero emission at the tailpipe.
Aircon is present, but it's manual and of the simplest kind. There's no leather, although I actually prefer the cloth seats to be honest, and they adjust but not by much. There is a stereo, but no digital radio, and although there are radio controls on the height adjustable wheel, there is no cruise control. There is keyless go and yes, electric windows, a couple of USB charge points, and you still get safety systems like emergency braking, lane keep assist, and lots of airbags, as well as electronic stability control. an electric parking brake, hill holder brake, and rear parking sensors, though actually it's not really skimped on the important kit. Interestingly, you can option in a winter and radio pack, and that adds stuff in like heated seats, as well as a 7-inch touchscreen with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, but that does cost £1,250, so it's not cheap. Oh, and I must mention, you do get a 3-pin granny charging cable thrown in, but that's only a 3 kilowatt one. If you want the Mode 3 CCS, but that's going to set you back £336.
Okay, so when you're in your driving position, it is maybe a little bit more sparse than the other Fiat 500, but I think it's just a bit more pared back, so there's a little bit of detailing missing. But overall, it's still a really nice interior. Okay, the things that I particularly miss are having heated seats and a heated steering wheel. However, heated steering wheel is a bit of a luxury, really. Do you need it? Probably not. Heated seats, however, essential. 100% essential in every car I ever drive. And also, if you think about when it comes to heating in the winter, you want to be as efficient as possible. So ideally don't heat the air, just heat your legs. So that's a little point from me. I would definitely pay extra for the heated seats. Let's talk about the way it drives, because again, I would say it's actually not much different, to be honest. It has a slightly smaller battery, therefore it's going to be a little bit lighter. So other than that, I can't really notice a huge difference. It's maybe a tiny bit slower, but again, I think unless you were jumping from one Fiat into the other, then you're not really going to notice. But actually, it's got 162 pound per foot of torque, and that's what really counts, to be honest. That's the stuff you feel when you accelerate. So it feels nice and fast off the lights and from 0 to 30, and that is what you need when you're nipping around town. However, don't get overexcited and start trying to practice drag racing at the lights, because it takes 9.5 seconds to get to 62 miles per hour. So you will lose, and let's be honest, no one likes losing. The seats are quite comfortable, particularly because the headrest has a bit of memory foam in it. And okay, I'm sorry, but this is one for the girls. Girls, if you're ever wearing a ponytail and it actually gives you a bit of a headache because you can't put your head all the way back, well, now the memory foam is actually quite good for that. So you can still sit with it or without ponytail and enjoy quite a comfortable seating position. If you haven't experienced driving this Fiat 500 yet, then I would highly recommend it. It's really worth just experiencing. You'll appreciate how nippy it is. Also, of course, you really only have to use one pedal for the driving. As soon as you lift your foot off the accelerator, that regenerative braking kicks in and slows you right down. So if you're planning to do some lazy driving or maybe just stuck in traffic, then this is a car for you. Now, as I mentioned earlier, parking is an absolute joy in this car. You can kind of punt it around town. It is a small electric car and everyone loves it. Since I've been driving this today, I swear I've just seen Fiat 500s everywhere, and everyone just gives each other a knowing nod, a little smile, a little wave. There is a secret, hidden, underground Fiat 500 club, and I'd quite like to be part of it. But back to the practical stuff, because as far as charging goes, the smaller battery on the 500 Action can make use of a 50 kilowatt rapid charger. So that's the same as something like a mini electric, and it means you can top from 0 to 80% in half an hour. But that's more of a function of the size of the battery rather than it being particularly quick. Now, typically on a home wall box, you're looking at about 4 hours from empty to full, which is fine. But that means that probably if you're tottering around town, you might want to top up a bit when you're at the shops or take advantage of those free parking spaces, because there are a few around. But you don't exactly get excess of range in the first place. So what do I think? Well, I want to make the point that cheap isn't the same as value for money. They could be quite different things.
I don't think the 524 kilowatt is particularly cheap, but it probably is value for money. Now, we do bang on here at Electrifying about getting the right size of battery for your personal use. So it's really important to look at this. A smaller battery is lighter, it's more efficient, because of course the car has less weight to lug around, and ultimately it is better for the environment. But range is convenience. You don't want to buy a problem. You want to be able to think less because you can go further without having to charge. And here's where it gets a bit sticky. The smaller battery in the 500 Action relegates it to being quite a specific city car. It's still as cute as it can be, and it's just about perfect for urban living. And there's actually something quite refreshing about a car that's pared back to basics. But I'd have to have another car in the garage to cope with everything else that I need in my life, which at the end of the day limits its appeal. Now, once I've added in some options that I actually really do want, the Action would end up being 1,500 quid shy of the Passion trim car with the bigger battery and more standard kit.
I think if you have a very specific commute or a standard routine, you know exactly how many miles you'll be doing, and that lower mileage works for you, or perhaps you're just pottering around town, then the basic 500 is going to be perfect. However, my personal recommendation would be to save up that little bit extra and go for the Fiat 500 with the bigger battery.
Now, as ever, if you would like to know more about the new 500 in general or any of the 500 Action's competition, like the Seat Mii Electric for around £20,000 with much more range, or the Smart EQ that costs £18,000 and can travel 80 miles on a charge, then please do come and log in at electrifying.com and we will attempt to answer all of your questions.